Ciao property fans, Carlo here. I wanted to share with you an untold story about Budget Speech 2020 because as much as we've heard all the news about, how transfer duties threshold has been increased from 900,000 to R1,000,000, which is great news for us and it's great news for people that are investing in ordinary properties for ordinary South Africans. There was one piece of the budget speech which wasn't really discussed much, but I think needs to be considered by us as property investors. And that is the fact that, the planning and the execution of the transport infrastructure, the local transport infrastructure and network for 3 cities, namely Buffalo City, Umsunduzi, and Mbombela, have been suspended, and that's the reason. And the reason is very simple. The reason is that there's obviously not a lot of money to go around, and those transfers from national government to local government and local municipalities has been cut, and this is very significant. It's very significant because it will not bear well. It will not bode well for the property market, for the economy first of all, and for the property market of those 3 beautiful, important cities, but clearly cities that fall under this tier 2 in South Africa. And what I'd like you to reflect on, this is a time to grow your portfolio, but it's also time to grow your portfolio selectively, looking at low risk investments. And, in my opinion, based on my research, my experience, it's a time to focus on tier 1 cities. What is tier 1 cities? Whether it's Johannesburg, whether it's Pretoria, whether it's Ekurhuleni, whether it's Durban, Cape Town, but certainly those tier 2 municipalities that are struggling themselves financially and now seeing, a reduction or a cut in transfer from national government will be severely affected. And if you've got investments or you're considering more investments in those areas, be very selective. I'm not saying there are no opportunities in those cities, but certainly be careful and be extra cautious. So that's one untold story from Budget Speech. You've heard all the other stories, but this one is, in between the lines. And it also goes to show how, you cannot just rely on newspapers. Develop a habit of going into the source of the information. Develop a habit to read between the lines, and you will do much better than the average person and the average property investor. Ciao from Carlo, the property coach.